Congratulations to the graduating class of 2020. I am so proud of you. Your families, teachers, and the entire community celebrates you. Be the makers of your memories, the drivers of your destiny, and dream big. We support you. Felicidades a la clase de graduantes 2020. Estoy sumamente orgulloso de ustedes. Sus familias y maestros, nuestra comunidad los celebra. Su trabajo arduo y perseverancia han dado frutos. Ustedes son los dueños de su destino. Con fe y fuerza todo es posible. Continúen soñando en grande y trabajando duro. Los apoyo.
Good evening, and welcome to today's celebration of the Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School's class of 2020. At this time, please join our Junior Honor Guard member, Brianna Renaga, in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. Everyone, please stand.
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Good evening. My name is Frank Green, and it is my privilege as the principal of Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School to welcome you to our 2020 graduation ceremony. Helen Hunt Jackson has been a unique alternative choice for many of our district high school students for the past 30 years. The school's very first graduating class in 1990 only had 3 students, but the enthusiasm and pride of that ceremony has carried on to each celebration since. Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School is an innovative choice for alternative high experiences, and we are proud to serve the families in our community. I extend an enthusiastic congratulations to our school's current group of graduates making up this year's Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School's class of 2020. We're here to honor the graduates, and though we are gathering virtually, we want to convey the congratulations, best wishes, and that same enthusiasm and pride as if we were gathering together. At this time, we want to welcome the district's governing board, superintendent, district administrative staff celebrating with us this evening. Please welcome District Governing Board, Megan Haley, President, Stacy Bailey, Vice President, board members Rob Davis, Jean Heichel, Vic Scavarda, Patrick Searle, and Ross Valenzuela. And welcome our district administrative team, Dr. Christy Barrett, Superintendent, Darren Waters, Deputy Superintendent, Business Services, Tracy Chambers, Assistant Superintendent, Ed Services, Dr. Derek Jindra, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, Dr. Karen Valdez, Assistant Superintendent, Student Support Services. I want to thank the board, Dr. Barrett, the entire district office administrative team for all of their support during this past year. Now I would like to introduce Helen Hunt teacher Linda Olson, who will introduce our speakers for the evening and highlight our scholarship winners.
Thank you. Welcome to all of you joining us this evening for this unique but heartfelt celebration of our class of 2020. At this time, I want to invite salutatorian Theas Ritana to the podium to share her thoughts and experiences at Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School.
Good afternoon, friends and family. Thank you for taking the time to tune in on this very special occasion. Originally, when I was told I would be giving this speech today, I was very happy and excited. Who wouldn't be, right? I mean, everything I had worked for had finally paid off. From staying up late hours into the night and even taking college courses, having that first semester of college already done. Everything had led up to this one moment. However, every time I sat down to try to write or even think about what I would want to say in this speech, one of two things would happen. Either I would begin to cry because I would think of all the beautiful moments and memories that we lived together these past few years, or two, my mind would go blank and I would have no idea of what to say. Regardless, I always knew one thing. I wanted it to have a purpose. I wanted it to mean something. That being said, I know this is a difficult time for everyone, but it's very hard for us. Everything we have been used to, everything that was there these past 12 years, with the exception of a few things, will no longer be there. And we have to plan the next few years of our lives. If you're like any other high school student, you probably believe that we don't learn anything useful or any real-world skills in school. However, I'd like to compare this time in our lives to writing a research paper. During this time, or when you begin writing a research paper, you look up information, you look up websites, articles, you do the research as the name suggests, and eventually you create this outline of what you want the paper to be. This is what we have done these last few weeks and even years of our high school experience. From looking up jobs, careers, universities, colleges, we've maybe even volunteered at these jobs to get a feel for what it could be, eventually creating this outline or this plan of what we want the next few years to be, or rather, to look like. Because when you begin writing a rough draft using this outline, the paper doesn't always turn out the way you expect it to be. Some ideas morph into others, and the paper becomes more uniform, forming a better idea as a whole. And if there's any point to this is, even though you do get a good rough draft out of that, you continue editing that paper. You make it better each time, and eventually you create something that you are proud of and that you are happy with, and you go in and you're happy to turn it in. What I'm trying to say here is, even if at first you don't succeed, continue working hard. Continue trying. Continue editing that plan that you had in the beginning. Because I will tell you right now, it will not be easy. Nothing and no one in this world is perfect, and you will end up failing. We will end up failing. Failure is inevitable, but if there is anything you take from this speech today, I really hope it be that even if you fail at first, continue trying hard. Continue staying true to yourself, to what you want in life, and even if in the end you don't have that perfect plan, you will have something better because you worked for it. You will have something that you are proud of and that you are happy with. What makes a difference isn't if we fail or if we don't. What matters is what we do with that failure. Will we allow it to push us down, or will we allow it to bring us up even higher? I would like to take a moment to thank everyone that has helped us get here today. From our parents, siblings, staff, teachers, Jehovah God. From our office lady, Krista, to our librarian, and teachers like Snow, Hoy, Graham, Wharton, Johnston, who, even though we haven't always seen eye to eye on things, they have played a role in our being here today. It has been a privilege being your fellow peer, your student, and your friend.
As Lorelai Gilmore once said, we're almost there, and we are nowhere near it. But what matters is that we're going. So look out, world, because we're coming.
Next, please welcome ASB President Harmony Kelly, who will share her experience at Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School with us.
Thank you. I used to be a follower. I found it hard to give someone a task or let alone ask for help. But the position of ASB president woke me up. It wasn't an option to be a follower, nor was it to feel like a burden. Despite how small Helen Hunt is, it felt like we were carrying a big job to make it feel like a big school. It was tough, and sadly the rest of ASB was cut short this year. But, though it may not seem like it, we've accomplished a lot. We've made the most with the time we had, and everyone has made the initiative of being a leader. So I believe it's safe to say there is no such thing as a follower in ASB this year. Together, we are all leaders, and we should strive to keep it this way. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to share with everyone some of the scholarships and recognitions the members of the class of 2020 have earned. And though we may have missed some of the awards our graduates have earned, we as a staff at Helen Hunt Jackson extend our congratulations to all of the scholarships and award recipients in this class of 2020. The Hemet Unified Governing Board scholarship recipients, Heather Richards and Theas Ritana. The Hemet Education Foundation Scholarship recipient, Rashad Bennett. The Hemet Teachers Association Scholarship recipient, Heather Richards. The Hemet San Jacinto Student of the Month recognition recipients, Maximus Moore and Isaiah Garcia Plazola. Northern Arizona University Regent Scholarship recipient, Jillian Moreau. Concordia University Irvine Regent Scholarship and Athletic Scholarship for tennis, Heather Richards. Finally, the State of California Golden State Seal Merit Diploma recipients. This award recognizes public school graduates who have demonstrated mastery of the high school curriculum in designated areas. A special insignia of the recognition will be placed on their diplomas and their transcript. These graduates are Sophia Aguilar, Isasha Cantabrara, Sandra Chino, Joshua Gutierrez, Brittany Littleton, Kyle Navarez, Roman Peyron, Alondra Ramirez, Heather Richards, and Micah Weigel. Congratulations to all of our class of 2020 graduates for these accomplishments. I'd like to invite our school's Teacher of the Year for this year, Juliana Hoy, to the podium at this time to share her memories of the class of 2020.
Good evening, and welcome students, families, dignitaries, and faculty that have signed in to celebrate our 2020 graduates. I'm sure that at the beginning of this year, this isn't how any of us expected to be going through this rite of passage. I'm so glad that in the middle of this historically unique situation that we could find a way to celebrate our seniors. I have a son graduating this year as well, so I understand the disappointment that you have all been experiencing. I assure you that this school year not ending the way that we had hoped in no way lessens your achievements. You might not realize it, but this past year our district took on a new motto: embrace, educate, empower. Educate is kind of a given, I would think. Empower, well, I hope. The part that I have seen in droves this year coming from our district, even prior to the pandemic, is embrace. More recently, I've witnessed our district come together with meals, a well-put-together enrichment program, and a knowledge that the fact that a stay-at-home order did not affect all students in the same manner, and that had to be taken into consideration. And it was all handled in a way that makes me proud to be a part of it. Maybe the reason that Embrace stands out for me is that I believe that here at our school, Embrace has always been at the forefront of what we do. We see you. There's so much that I love about teaching, and about our school in particular, but the fact that we see you is by far my favorite. I graduated from an alt-ed school in San Diego decades ago. I know about all of the different stories that lead us to go this route. For me, I was one of the worst high school students ever at one of the best schools in San Diego. I failed the classes that I now teach, and I rarely went to class. And don't worry, I promise that I am now qualified. I was on a path that so many of us never find our way back from until a teacher intervened and changed the direction of my life. I did not confide in her that my life was spiraling out of control. It's just that in her class, you were never invisible. I wound up at an alt-ed school so that I could graduate. School was not my priority yet. That would not come until much later for me. I've had the privilege to watch most of you over the last 4 years, and I have seen some of you dig in with a drive to succeed, and some of you just hanging on, hoping to make it to this particular finish line. I am so proud of you that you made it regardless of where you lie between the two. I've witnessed students like Isaiah, Rashad, and Tanner work their way through so much to become these young men that we can and should be proud of. I've seen Heather push through all that she and her family were dealing with due to illness to become our valedictorian. These are just a few examples of what I get to see, and given the time, I could tell you so many more. I want you to know that we as teachers tell them to each other. It doesn't matter if we're collaborating, hanging out in the lunchroom, or out to dinner. The conversation at some point always comes back to you. We get excited for you, worried about you, and yes, occasionally annoyed with you. But our conversations always find their way back to what we can do to help you get where you need to be. This year's graduation, even prior to the pandemic, was already feeling bittersweet for me. Because although I'm thrilled for you to have made it to this milestone, this particular graduating class is one that I hate to see leave. My first year here at Helen Hunt was the only time that I taught a freshman class, and those of you that stayed with us for the entire 4 years are graduating today. I feel like I've watched you grow up. I was recently scrolling through my phone and came across a photo of my whiteboard from my first year here where a bunch of students had left me notes before leaving for winter break. There was one from Ashlyn, who is graduating today, that read, "Miss Hoy, I hope you know that if you're ever feeling down, you can count on us to lift you up." More recently, I received an email from our salutatorian and my TA this year upon knowing that she wouldn't be in class that day, which read, "I know this is a sad day for you, but I hope that you have a great sad day." You all make it so easy to want to come to work every day. I've missed getting to have the last part of this year with you. I will continue to miss the high fives, fist bumps, applause on my way to lunch, Max's smile, Ian's heart, Alondra's infectious laughter, and Brittany and Josh coming to see me before they leave campus to get a hug. If I have anything to offer you, it is this. Life isn't much different than math class. Sometimes you'll figure it out more easily than others, and there will be times when you get it completely wrong. And that is okay. You've learned what not to do next time. Don't quit. Make sure there is a next time. As you go along, please come back and let us know how it's going. We will not stop being interested and invested in you. When I decided on this path that led me here, that teacher that saved me so many years ago was one of my biggest cheerleaders. We will always root for you. In closing, I would like to tell you the same thing that I told my son the other day. I am so incredibly proud of you. Not just for graduating and all that you have achieved, but also for who I've been able to watch you become. Congratulations, class of 2020. It has been a privilege and my great pleasure to be a part of your journey, and I can't wait to see where you take it from here.
Thank you, Julie. The next speaker this evening is a special teacher who's helped build Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School into the quality education choice it is today. Over the last 20-plus years, she has helped the middle school program grow and prosper, which is now part of Family Tree Learning Center. She also started the high school's first direct math instruction in the form of math labs. For independent study students who had previously only had very minimal time with teachers on campus, this provided the necessary support our students needed to succeed in math. Her witty acronyms and unique stories help students retain key facts and formulas, all while genuinely caring for every student she met. Though retiring from teaching this year, her infectious laugh and smile will always be remembered, and her empathy and caring for students will never be forgotten. I invite math teacher Debbie Markison to the podium to speak on her time at Helen Hunt Jackson.
Thank you, Linda. Graduates, we're here for you to celebrate and honor a great achievement. And I hope we all pause and remember those who have helped us and take time to say thank you. And I would like to do that now. 26 years ago, I was hired by the founder of Helen Hunt Jackson and Alessandro, Jim Smith. And at that time, both schools met on the same campus for the same goal, to provide an alternative pathway for a high school diploma. And I want to pause and thank him who hired me, Jeannie Baker, who recommended me, and to my God, who I believe prepares our paths. At that time, students only came 1 hour a week. There were no classes, and they met with a teacher, received their homework assignments, and reviewed the ones they finished. That same year, Walt Brubaker, the next principal, took over. He asked somebody to volunteer to take over the middle school. I like those kids. I said, I'll do it, and I took it over. Soon, the state of California mandated that all 8th graders take algebra as their math class. So I, too, returned back to school to obtain a math credential and to help this class with their algebra. Walt gave me the approval to start math classes so my kids could get some instruction that they needed. Soon after that, Helen Clark Frost took over, and she wanted somebody to head up the math. Since I had this new supplementary credential and started math classes, she asked me to do that. I had an amazing staff of high school math teachers and other teachers and new principals that came along. But what I remember most in my years are my students who have made a difference. And today I hope that these short stories will encourage you as they have me. And I want to begin with Mary. Mary was a student. She transferred from West Valley to Helen Hunt. She was in my algebra class my first year with high school. She rarely showed up on time, and many times did not show up. But she always came to me, usually during lunch. Mrs. Markison, help me with the math. What did you teach? Over and over, I said, Mary, you need to be in class. She rarely made it. The next year, she walked into my geometry class, and I sighed. Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Markison. I won't miss a class. I promise you. I changed my whole work schedule. And she kept her word. Second semester came. And she said, Mrs. Markison, I need to tell you my story. I go, Mary, I would love to hear your story. At 5 years old, Mary's mom died of cancer. Soon, her house became an unsafe place to live. At 16, she moved out. She lived in a studio apartment by herself, worked as many hours as possible at Del Taco, rode a bike for transportation, and was determined to graduate from high school. She needed an alternative plan, and she came to our school. She knew what she wanted to do. She wanted to be a nurse. But sometimes when riding home from work, she got scared, and she couldn't sleep, so she didn't make it to algebra on time. I go, Mary, Thank you for sharing. If I would have known, I would have been a lot kinder to you. Oh, that was okay, Mrs. Markison. You helped me. I go, Mary, I will never forget you. I want to share your story. She rose up. She became a nurse. But I have learned that everybody has a story, and we need to find out how we can be kind, even when we don't know their story. Next, I had Joe. I taught Joe for 2 years, algebra and geometry. He was graduating. He goes, Mrs. Markison, you have to share my story. I go, I don't know your story, Joe. For 1.5 years at West Valley, he ditched. He had 15 credits going into his second semester sophomore year, and they recommended Helen Hunt Jackson. I met him his junior year. Joe turned around. He goes, I started to focus. I started to see the importance of school. In doing so, he was one of my top students, the first one to offer any help if anybody needed it with math. He goes, Mrs. Markison, I had a second chance. I worked hard. You tell kids never to give up. I go, Joe, I will do that. He moved on. I will never forget Joe. He became one of my best tutors for those who struggled. And then I had Dylan. Dylan was in my regular geometry class, had a D. He was a senior that year. He came from Hemet High. I met with Dylan. I go, Dylan, we need to go to skills. It was offered. And I go, I want you to graduate. And he goes, Mrs. Markison, what day is it? And I told him, he goes, I can't go, Mrs. Markison. And he told me a story. His summer before his senior year, when he was going to Hemet High, his mom came to him and said, I'm moving away. She was a single mom. And you need to find a place to stay. I'm not taking you with me. He was devastated. The family across the street heard the story and took him in with the condition he would work. He worked with the man of that house, learned a skill, and came to school. He couldn't leave, and that's the only day he could come to school. He goes, Mrs. Markison, I will do it. Second semester, geometry. He was my highest student, had an A in every class he took. The other kids would look at him and go, what are you doing? I'm studying. He received a scholarship that year and moved on. Dylan rose up. He did not let his circumstances make any excuses. He will always be in my heart. This is the reason I teach. It is one of the best years of my life that I have had to be with my students. I encourage you all as you go on from here. Life will be hard, but you can rise above it. I want to thank Frank for keeping me on, and for all the many teachers that have been such a support. These have been some of the best years of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, so much for all your years of service. Now please welcome our class valedictorian, Heather Richards, and she will share her experiences at Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School.
Hello, class of 2020, parents, families, and friends. I'd first like to thank Helen Hunt Jackson administration and staff, as well as the Hemet Unified School Board members for providing us as close to a graduation ceremony as we could have given the circumstances. I would also like to thank my family, teachers, coaches, and God for helping me to get where I am today. Some of you may know who I am, but most of you probably do not. My name is Heather Richards. I have been attending Helen Hunt Jackson for the last 3 years, and I'm honored to be this year's valedictorian. I started high school at Hemet High, but I realized it was not the school for me. Granted, my grades were good, I had friends, and I was on the varsity tennis team. I didn't feel like that was the right place for me. I knew I loved learning, as well as playing tennis, but the traditional school day and classroom dynamic caused me a lot of stress. I switched to Helen Hunt Jackson, and it seemed like a million doors opened for me. I can now play my sport as much as I wanted while getting a more individualized education. The teachers were much more personable, and they truly impacted my life. I never met my counselor at Hemet High, but I cannot say the same for Helen Hunt Jackson. I spent hours and hours in Mrs. Newborn's office talking about school, my personal problems, and my goals for the future. I always knew I could come to her no matter what situation I was in, and she would be a shoulder for me to cry on, or she would be able to lay the stepping stones for me to sprint towards my next goal. As she helped me accomplish one of my biggest goals, being valedictorian, I think it's safe to say neither of us envisioned me giving my speech like this. When I found out our graduation was going to be virtual, I was heartbroken. Our senior class missed out on grad night, senior sunset, prom, and now graduation too. After calling my friends and crying together about the situation, I began to feel selfish. What about the families that have personally been affected by this pandemic? What about the first responders sacrificing their health and safety for us? Even worse, what about the kids who have been forced to play video games all day, or stay in their pajamas, or even the ones who have to binge watch Netflix? My heart goes out to them. Then I realized it is okay to grieve over what was taken from us. These are memories we will never be able to create, pictures we never got to take, and Disney ears we never got to purchase. Our senior year was cut short, and while it may pale in comparison to other problems in the world right now, it is okay to be upset. It is okay to be upset that you will never hear one of Mr. Johnston's stories again. It is okay to be upset that you will never be able to look at one of Miss Hoy's Avengers posters again. It is okay to be upset that you will never be able to watch another Taylor Swift music video with Mrs. Noel Brown. And it is certainly okay to be upset that you will never be able to see Isaac scare the pants off a misbehaving middle schooler ever again. Nevertheless, I encourage you to take a step back and look at the brighter side of things. You have just graduated high school. You have worked extremely hard for 12 years to get where you are now, and you have opened so many doors for yourself no matter what pathway you choose to go down. You have made so many memories and friendships, and that is something that COVID-19 will never be able to take from you. You will also have an amazing story to tell your grandkids one day. As we continue to try and anticipate what the future will look like, I hope you feel brave rather than scared. If there is one thing we can learn from this pandemic, it is that the future is never promised. And like Pitbull says, every day above ground is a great day. Remember that. I read that a good valedictorian speech should include a quote, and while Pitbull is inspirational, I didn't think it properly fit the theme of our senior year. So here's mine. As Monica Geller from Friends would say, welcome to the real world. It sucks, but you're gonna love it. So my friends, as bitter and virtual as it may be, this is the one where we part ways and chase our dreams. Thank you.
It is my great pleasure to invite our superintendent, Dr. Christy Barrett, to the stage as she will address the class of 2020.
Good evening, parents, families, friends, staff, and graduates. This year is a bit unique in the way we get to celebrate our seniors. We planned on sending our seniors off with a bang, quite literally, as we normally have fireworks or silly string fights to conclude our graduations. However, this is the first year we get to celebrate our graduates virtually, and I can think of no better class to share this unique experience with. From the beginning, the class of 2020 has shown its strength, tenacity, and perseverance. You came into this world as the country was grieving the tragedy of 9/11, and you are graduating high school as the world grieves a pandemic. These two milestones, birth and your high school graduation, have and will continue to have an impact on your life. But I have witnessed with my own eyes the strength of the class of 2020. Among you, we have a student who, despite suffering a terrible loss, was able to stay on track for graduation, receive college credit, and enlisted in the armed forces to save money and attend college later. Alondra, Thais, and Ashlyn, who have been dedicated to helping each other be successful and earn college credits through both dual and concurrent enrollment. and Heather Richards, who was awarded the Regents Scholarship at Concordia University, where she will attend in the fall. I am truly honored to celebrate this special and unique graduation celebration with you. Regardless of the circumstances, this is a time of reminiscing and reflecting as you all look back and admire the challenges and successes you have experienced to get to today. To the families and educators listening, thank you for your continued support and time that you invested in our graduates. Your efforts have played a key role in their success. To the graduates, you have continued to show tenacity and a strong work ethic, which are skills that will ensure your success well after high school. There are endless options to choose from, and I hope that whatever path you choose to journey on, it is personally fulfilling and brings value to not only you, but those around you. You have all faced adversities, and yet here you are, about to venture out into the world to further your education, enlist in the military, or enter into the workforce. Remember, life will hand you curveballs, as you may have learned this school year. You will take detours on your way to greatness, but your stories are only the beginning, and I can't wait to see the impact you will have in this world.
And now the part of the ceremony we've all been waiting for. Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School graduates, this is the moment. Wherever you are, please stand. Dr. Barrett and the governing board, I certify that these students have met the requirements for a high school diploma from the Hemet Unified School District.
It gives me great honor and pleasure on behalf of the Board of Education of the Hemet Unified School District to accept the class of 2020. I hereby certify that these students have completed the district-adopted requirements and the curriculum approved by the state of California. I now present the class of 2020 to receive their diplomas. Congratulations, class of 2020.
Now we will go to the graduation stage as the students receive their diplomas. Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School staff member Gloria Ayala will now read the names for our graduates. I present to you the class of 2020.
Joseph Manuel Aguilar Signs. Marcos Jesus Alejandre. Sofia Monserrat Aguilar. Isaiah Eli Garcia Plazola. Austin Archer. Sandra Mayeli Chino. Tamara Ladine Castillo. Garrett Addison Blood. Zoe Lynn Gilman. Rashad Jamarco Bennett. Elizabeth Dominguez. Luis Manuel Morones Avalos. Jason Riley Elliott Hunsucker. Stephanie Angelica Heredia. Dominic Richard Martinez. Jonathan Evan Gomez. Montserrat Esquesochi Garcia. Joshua Michael Gutierrez. Ana Marie Denise Corona. Nicole Diane Cochran. Yamilet Gutierrez Diaz. Gavin Cole King. Aaliyah Irene Green. Jacob Scott Hyde. Harmony Brooke Kelly. Ian Mark Hundley. Eden Lauren Mary Hunt. Dorothy Lanier. Brittany Ann Littleton. Maggie May McKimson. Lindsay Renee Ivy. Maximus Dane Moore. Vanessa Elizabeth Lopez. Heather Lynn Richards. Amy Annette Marin. Thais Ariana Retana. Kyle Anthony Robert Nevares. Angelina Rose Osman. Trenton Charles Prather. Juliet Anne Marie Stevens. Jillian Ashlyn Wynn Moreau. Joshua Alfredo Moreno. Chelsea Lee Miller. Caleb Orlando. Alondra Ramirez. Roman Xavier Perron. Larissa Victoria Quesada. Jesse Moreno Moya. Jillian Taylor Williams. Ashlyn Dawn Stipp. Faith de Jesús Sauceda. Micah David Weigel. Sophia Rose Valenzuela. Amber Marie Leaf Weiss. Stephanie Robles. Samuel Gabriel Sandoval. Ashlyn May Rogers.
I'm so proud of all of you, and I share the joy in meeting this milestone in life. You imagined graduating, you believed you could do it, and you achieved your goal. I encourage you to continue to challenge yourself, imagine what you can be, believe in yourself, and celebrate your achievements in life. Design new goals for yourself and create lasting memories for the lifetime. Congratulations, class of 2020. Now, to end the ceremony this evening, graduates Deis Ratana and Alondra Ramirez will come up to the podium and lead our class of 2020 in the tassel turning ceremony. Graduates, please stand.
Fellow classmates, congratulations to all of your achievements of being here today. It is time to make new goals for ourselves and to achieve them as well.
It is students like you that make Helen Hunt Jackson College Prep High School a successful alternative to the traditional high school. You may now change your tassels from the right to the left.
Class of 2020,
we have now graduated from high school.